you observe the religions or whatever that professes to link man with the beyond. You find that the proponents, those who come forward to proclaim the messages from the beyond, they all seem to be white people, and we even have in religion, in Christianity, where Jesus has to be painted, white in order to make the message authentic. And in some critical circles, this has been pointed out that Jesus was not actually white, but black, or something like that, or brown, or whatever. And you see, and this ties with this general tendency of the message bringers, which are of a certain racial profile. Now, what I want to ask is there any connection between skin color and attaining some form of awareness, or the highest awareness? So is there any link between the color of the skin and that, and entering into this awareness? Because if you look at the nature of awareness, it is such that you cannot see somebody walking on the street and you determine whether that person is aware or not aware. It is the messages or anything we receive from the real side life is very subjective. So the question is, how would you know I don't know? And if I'm speaking a different language, or I'm in a different culture, how would you know I've not had these realizations? See? Because even some bushman living in the Australian outback maybe has had some realizations which is not equipped to bring forth in a manner that people will know. We have technology, and we have all that accompanies it for mass communication. So, what if somebody in his own silent corner of a different race has had these realizations? How do we then address this kind of situation where we don't know whether others know what you are talking about?
Okay, I get the idea. And you started off with the different skin colors and whatever. That all comes from what has been decided in basically the elites that control the world, the one world order, whatever you want to call them, the reptilians, etc., that control the systems, basically control the systems of the world. They've decided that. And they've decided that it's not hard to see why they've decided it. And then you have we'll just keep it simple here. Then you have the black man in Africa, and you see like the history of the United States is very interesting. The United States was set up as a puppet country, is really what it was. And you have the black slaves in the United States. That was implemented also. All these things were part of their bigger plan to control people and at the same time create discrimination, okay, amongst the races. And whether Jesus was white or black or purple or whatever, Again, he was what he was, but that doesn't matter. Okay, it's the awareness. And yes, as you will move along here a little bit, as you talk about, yes, people are having experiences all the time. Here's the idea simplified. And that is just like the sun shining on the earth. Okay, it shines for everybody. And so that's a demonstration of the isness, that life is. It's available, the recognition is available to everybody. And just like all of us, from the natives in the Amazon to the natives in, Africa and the Congo and these so-called areas that you can't even find people, to the Aborigines in Australia, to anybody, to the businessman in New York and whatever. Everybody has an imagination, you see? That supersedes the mind altogether. But the decision to activate and how to utilize that imagination as, an intuitiveness, as an approach to learn to recognize this reality, that's a decision for each individual to make, you see? So it doesn't matter really. It's nice that like everybody's here, everybody's here. They do recognize, everybody recognizes something about what's being presented in some way. I decided to do this, okay? I didn't have to do it. I decided to do this. I decided to activate this and have this adventure because I wanted to become more aware and self-sufficient. So this is the idea. And so this is what I'm presenting, and I would say the people that are here, they want the same thing, but I don't decide that for them. So yes, everybody, this is what's so cool about it, Charles, and that is that life it's already a completeness, and I'm letting people know that, all you have to do is learn to recognize it because it's available to everybody, but everybody's going to see it in their own way, and each person is going to decide how to activate it or not. That becomes the difference. Some people, they don't want to do that. They don't want to step out there, etc., and do that. Well, that's fine. Their experiences in their life and their recognition will be accordingly. So, again, this is the era, which will only last so long, of the real risk taker. And this is a huge opportunity for people to do this, but if they choose not to, that's their choice. Life can only meet us halfway. This is real. So we can sit and beg life for things, but that's silly. That's like begging the air for something. This is the old God idea. Again, this is where, we talk about this, where, the Africans are looking for miracles from the boys and all this stuff. It's like begging the air. The reality is that each person can do whatever they want and have everything that they want once they simply recognize it. It's already available. This is what's so cool about life. This is what we're waking up to. But it takes time. It's not going to be an overnight process. And this is the difference between recognizing the is and what is taking place in creation. They're two different things. You don't mix them together. You do, but you don't. Again, this is part of the process of you becoming aware and recognizing this. So, yeah, I would say there's people having experiences all the time. And maybe even more so, I would say more so than me or anybody or whatever. They're all around, but they're deciding to do what they do, and maybe that, yes, they're having them. And actually, Darwin Harold's a good example. They had experiences, many experiences on the real side with the boys, even in the real universes. They touched upon these things and saw certain things, but they didn't recognize it. And they demonstrated, and they decided to do what they did according to what they see. You see, would it make sense that, if Harry's really who he says he is, that he's doing what he's doing? You see, it's really a demonstration. You see any of the boys doing what he's doing? No. Because they see what's going on. They recognize what makes sense. And so, again, it's only the people that step forward. That becomes the difference. And this is a privilege to do this and to stand real with the boys. So, again, it's choice. Everybody has the possibility to do this. It's available. And the hints are given. All life can do is hint at us. But we take the initiative, just like you. I would say look at your process, and you'll better understand the next person's process as they go through. This is why I have a huge compassion and consideration for what's going on in the world. I see what people are struggling with. I see it. It's huge. And it takes a lot to really fine-tune this to where you really do see it. And to me, only one thing makes sense, and that is recognizing this isness and standing real in it, because then you are self-sufficient and you have that real position of freedom for yourself. Anything aside from that, what value does it have? What value does it have to be restricted as we've went through all these lifetimes to get to a certain point to recognize this reality, and at the same time continue to give yourself to the phenomena and the agreement and unconscious agreement of this world. So yes, it's available to everybody, Charles. This is what's so cool about it. This is the position I work from. You might say, this is a position I stand real from. I really don't like the word work. It's not work. It's just simply a position I stand real from. And that is that I have already considered that everybody is, it's not so that everybody's going to wake up, but it is so that everybody can have the possibility to decide to do so. You see? So it's easy to say, well, gee, everybody's not going to wake up. Only certain people are going to get it. Yeah, we can say that. But I like to consider the possibility that everybody has this opportunity to do so. And so that's why I'm doing what I am. You know, Paul, when he was here, he really didn't do radio and TV and whatever. He just did what he did, you see. He could have done that, but he really didn't do it. He just did the seminars. He just, did what he did for that time. And he kept it, you might say, pretty compacted, even though it got around the world, which was amazing. But a lot of people around the world were having experiences, and then they were led to recognize certain things at that time. That's kind of what it was. It kind of came in kind of quietly, you might say. And today, the world is different. The world is really, realistically destroying itself as fast as it can. And so this is why I do all the writing and the talking, etc., because I see, I'm the decider here, okay? I'm deciding how it's going to be. And if it makes sense, the boys back it up. And so I see that everybody can have this opportunity. And I don't see why anybody shouldn't have this opportunity. So I got to confront a lot here. Okay, so, and it gets to the point to where, I'm referring to everything. So it looks like I'm the bad guy, simply saying how things are. And so, if I didn't talk about the chemtrails or the HARP or the corporation or any of these things, okay, I could keep it kind of, really confined. I could do that. I could decide to do that and not have to deal with all these things, just like what Harry's doing and Joni. See, they just keep it confined. They just keep it confined to the ideas that they've created and attracting people accordingly. Hey, with Joni, business is good. But it won't last because of what she's doing. She has to face herself. That's the big confrontation that she has to deal with. It's bigger than, it's like the Lords of Karma judgment. That's the big confrontation. So what's going to happen in the courtroom here is nothing compared to what she really has to confront overall. So, and again, that's part of the adventure, I see, okay? I like the adventure, and that's, that's what I activate. I activate the adventure creatively so that it becomes kind of fun for people. And it's not just some kind of belief drudgery, that's that you're carrying in all these old ideas. That's drudgery, I see that. Even though they're pretty words and people are happy, it all ends up as drudgery. Everybody ends up miserable. Hey, they're happy, they're singing in the church and whatever, and they're jumping up and down, but then when something happens or somebody dies, hey, they go back to the church and they're all crying and mourning. You see? We don't do that. because we see and we understand what's taking place. So again, this created opportunity, and everybody has it. And I would say, yes, there's a lot of people out there, but they decide to step up and be the risk takers or not. This is the best part, is to be the risk taker. It really is. Yes, and people can have their experiences. They can have their personal la-la land, and there's many people that go into the real universes too, and they can have that. And that's fine. But it's all choice. You know, and I see that I like seeing people wake up, and I like providing this opportunity to see them wake up. That's my big thrill here. And it's a very humbling experience too. And it's not just about me anymore. See, the membership idea is about the individual. It's all me, me, me. Well, when you get to the point where it's for everyone, that's the best part. And the interesting thing is that even though individuals are having experiences, even in the real universes, they really don't see the whole of life until they step out in it wholeheartedly. And look at the demonstration the boys are doing. They do everything they can. And you know, you might say I really keep them busy because they want the adventure, and everything I decide, you know, they're there, they go after it, they're backing it up, they're doing it. I decided the vessel project and they built it on the real side. So I'm really keeping them busy. Yeah. Yes, by what I decide. And you're here, and look at all the activity, etc., that we're going through. And I got many adventures that are unseen that are coming into fruition. And so they're very, very busy, and they love it. They love the adventure and the activation. And so the consideration of what other people are experiencing, all we can do is provide the opportunity and see if they will step up and take the risk. And that becomes the best experience. But I can't give that experience. They must decide to do that, getting out of that me thing. Yeah.